One of the oldest inhabitants of the Gulf of Mottama is the mud crab. This prehistoric animal lives in the creeks, canals and marshes of these wetlands. The mud crab is an essential part of the ecosystem. The last 30 years, it also became an important source of income for the people living in the Gulf. But like almost all marine life here, the mud crab is under attack. Mostly due for the increasing demand for this delicacy. Luckily, the villagers are now turning the tide for the mud crab. A strategy that protects the mud crab and gives the people of the Gulf of Mottama a sustainable income. There are 4 species of mud crab in Southeast Asia. But Myanmar only has 2, the black mud crab and the white one. Female crabs carry their eggs in September and October, waiting for a male to mate with. After mating, the female travels from the mangrove to much deeper waters to release her eggs. On average, a female carries 1 million eggs. The baby crabs must find their way back to the coastal areas to start growing and create a new generation. Until 30 years ago, the mud crab was only eaten by the local people, fishing communities and people living close to the sea. But since the 90s of the last century, crab became popular food amongst the fast-growing Asian middle class. Now the crab is one of the most valuable products that come from the coastal area of Mon State and other coastal areas like Rakhine and Ayeyarwady.
ပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီမော်လမြိုင်ကပေါ့နော်မော်လမြိုင်ကဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာကနန်းတော်နည်းနည်းတော့ရှားတယ်ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ဈေးထဲမှာဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲဂျုံတဲ့အချိန်မှာရမှာပေါ့နော်အဲ့ပုံစံမျိုးဖြစ်နေတယ်ဟုတ်ကဲ့တကယ်တော့ customer တွေတို့order မယ်ဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာဒီ menu ထဲမှာကျွန်တော်တို့မှာmenu ထဲမှာကျွန်တော်တို့မထည့်ထားဘူးကနန်းရဲ့အစားအစာပေါ့နော်ကနန်းရဲ့ menu ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာဒီဘယ်လိုပြောမလဲဒီ special ပုံစံမျိုးပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒါကျွန်တော်တို့မှာကနန်းရှိတဲ့နေ့ဆိုရင်ကနန်းနဲ့ရှိတဲ့နေ့တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ special ပုံစံမျိုးကျွန်တော်တို့ရောင်းနေပေါ့နော်ကနန်းရဲ့ပေါက်စေလို့ပြောရနော်အဲ့ဒီစေနှုံးကိုကျွန်တော်တို့မှာအခြေခံထားပြီးတော့အဲ့ဒီသူ့ရဲ့ဟိုထဲထားတဲ့ပစ္စည်းပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒါစားစားတွေကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ cost တွေချလောက်ပြီးမှအဲ့ဒီစေနှုံးကအဲ့ဒါကမူတည်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့စေနှုံးကိုတတ်မှတ်တယ်ပေါ့နော်အခုတော့ဒီလိုတပကန်းစားဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာအခုဒီငရုတ်ကောင်းစော့ကျော်ပေါ့နော်ဒီပကန်းဒီတပကန်းဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့မှာ9000နဲ့900လို့ရောင်းနေတာပေါ့နော်
ဒါတည်းဟိုဒီရွာဘက်ကလာတယ်လေနေစုံဘက်ကဒီမှာတောတဲ့တွေရောင်းနေအဲ့ဒီကအကြတွေကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ပြန်ရောင်းနေအသေးတွေပေါ့နော်ဟိုဈေးပေါ်နဲ့ပဲရောင်းတာဒါတည်းဟိုဆိုင်မဝင်တဲ့ဟာတွေပေါ့အကြတွေအသေးတွေအဲ့လိုမျိုးတွေဈေးပေါ်ပဲရောင်းတယ်လေ export လုပ်လို့မရဘူးဒါတည်းကအကြတွေခေါ်တော့ပေါ့ဈေးနှုန်းတွေကကျွန်တော်တို့အဲ့ဒါ6000တို့9000တို့9000တို့အစအဲ့လိုကိုရောင်းတော့ပေါ့
3 decades ago, there were plenty of mud crabs. When the international demand increased, so did the price of the fresh mud crab. The fishermen made a bundle. And of course, the word spread, so more fishermen started to collecting crabs. Inevitably, the catch went down, and so did the size of the caught crabs. To capture the crabs, you have to know the area quite well. Crabs are caught by hand or with traps, and only during low tide. Fishermen also use a special hook, kananje. They force the crab to attack the rod, and then catching them is easy. In comparison to data collected 4 decades ago, the mud crab population has sharply declined.
Longer sa taon nila pitching na so na kanana yan nila sinaw na jala I pupipsi ma yo karang so yan di ya cha tang soကျွန်တော်တပုတ်ဝင်65အခုကဒီကောင်က3500ရ
The main reasons for the decline of the mud crab are increasing demand of all sizes of mud crab, notably demand from China and Thailand. Better equipment and techniques are used, and catching undersized crab and females with eggs. Lack of awareness amongst the local people how to preserve and sustainably exploit the mud crab by introducing new cultivation like crab aquaculture. And lack of long-term conservation policy, investment schemes and law enforcement. The population in the coastal areas has grown and they use mud crab as source of income. There are not enough alternative livelihoods for the local communities. Catching undersized mud crab is the root cause of the problems for sustainability of mud crab production. The mud crab catchers know that big-sized mud crabs can get a higher price, but they are harder to find. Instead, they collect undersized mud crabs as the export market to Thailand accepts smaller crabs. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the instability of mud crab price affects the livelihood of the mud crab catchers and collectors. At the same time, the demand went down because restaurants have less customers. In 2017, Mon state government created a mud crab conservation area as part of the establishment of a fishery co-management zone in Taton Township. Unfortunately, this conservation area is not effectively managed and has no long-term policy on the mud crab. Although the Department of Fisheries prohibits catching undersized mud crab, the illegal catching of mud crabs happens everywhere along the coastal area of the Gulf of Mottama. The authorities don't take any action against this. Together with the local villagers and their village development committee, the Gulf of Mottama Project is trying to help the mud crab. And not only the mud crab. The GOMP is also helping the fishing communities who depend on them. In January 2021, the GOMP started a pilot project for cultivating mud crab using natural mangrove forests.
The motor of the Gubani, Ganapane, Ludia, the Ganani, Yosami, Lunjopanji get a job. The Ganambosi, Shabala, take Miaro, Nogolo, Miaro, the job, you know, the time of Agonimesa, the Mubu Bego, the Pelevio, Dora, Gana, the music deal, the 10 year out there, you know, Gana, Akon Gidile, Yajin, Chiniboli. I will use our general, the Ganamu, Sadi come Pogana.
That's all that Sierra Theodore, you're not your movie.
Oh, yeah,
Theodore, General Coxiam, Malo, you know, you know, but do you I know.
The GOMP promotes mud crab fishers to cultivate a mangrove-friendly mud crab production system and to develop their long-term sustainable harvest of mud crabs. At the same time, the project also aims to conserve and rehabilitate mangrove forest along the coastal area. The GOMP pilot project also includes assisting mud crab farmers in making fish ponds suitable for mud crabs. When the pond is ready and well positioned, the farmer buys baby crabs from the crab catchers according to the numbers that were given to them by the fishery expert. That way, he or she can determine the size and number of babies that will enter the pond.
Ako ngala ban yawတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့အကြီးဆုံးဖမ်းရမှာเนาะဒါအကြီးဆုံးလို့ပြောရမှာကျွန်တော်တို့30ကျပ်သား30ကျပ်သားပေါင်ဝင်ခဲ့ပြီပေါ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ခုဒါကျွန်တော်တို့အောင်မြင်ပြီလားလို့ပြောလို့ရပြီလားလို့ပြောမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့အောင်မြင်ပြီလို့ပြောနိုင်ပါတယ်နော်ကျွန်တော်တို့
To grow, crabs need food. Giving them extra food will speed up the growing process. Since crabs eat almost anything, it's not too hard to find food. But trash fish from fishermen will do fine.
That's how you look at it.
The Nidio, you know, Gabi and Tomida Java, who Satavia, Utala, Joloma, Gabi and Tomida Jama, Juini. Ye Java Mudivo, to a Sano Mudivo, Pione or Shia.
The Poman like that, the new
Gabi and Tomida Java.
The fishery officer of the Gulf of Mottama Project makes regular visits to the crab ponds to collect data about the amount of food they give to the crabs and their growth rate.
Yingano Momudido Canale, Gitwaro, Yingano Sangao Outjava, they Giron never. He let it come at 3 times, the Murian Castle. Gitwa, American Muya, so upon my many Nijaramano. The fellow the below shore like PIU. I cannot hear you, you know, doing like a little bit. I'm a young take me the account, account you don't move, you know, we all take no yard.
That's what I can do. ဒီကန်တွေကပုံမှန်ဒီရေစမ်းသပ်မှုအနေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဒီလုပ်ပေးရတာပေါ့
လောတဲ့ကမှာအပြင်ကယူကျွန်တော်တိုင်းမယ်အထက်ကယူတိုင်းမယ်ဒီရင်ကန်တော့ကတိတ်ဟိုငါ PPT ပေါ့လေအဲ့တဲ့မကွာတဲ့အချိန်မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ကရေသွင်းရေထုတ်လို့ရပါတယ်
According to the fishery officer, mud crab mango friendly aquaculture is the best solution for the local crab catchers and farmers to initiate their family business. The future of the mud crab is still not secured. But more and more people start to realize that the crabs need care and protection. A joint effort of the fishing communities, local governments and civil society organizations can make sure that the mud crab will not disappear from the Gulf of Mottama. By doing so, hunters and farmers can keep making money and feed the hungry crab eaters all over the world in a sustainable way.